Huge Group is a communications, technology and media company. It previously focused on least cost routing but has switched to mobile advertising and other IT solutions. It has a market cap of 149 million rand and it made a loss in the year to February 2012 and paid no dividend. Looking at Huge Group, your thoughts on Huge Group, Paul?
Yeah, so again, that thing that I mentioned earlier about least cost routing, in the old days it was anything but telecom. You know, if you could get somebody not to have to deal with telecom anymore, that was marvelous. So this was the old Huge Group founded by Anton Potgieter, and then he bought a thing called Telepassport. They had quite a big business going because the deal they'd come to you is say, we'll cut your telecommunications costs by X, and anything more than that we'll take a percentage of. Problem was that when the mobile networks a couple of years ago got that pressure around termination rates, they basically cut their termination rates, and as a result this business got basically, you know, their revenues were cut in half. What they've been able to do in the meantime though is find other IT-based messaging applications. They've got that mobile thing which is called Eyeballs, which is a bit like a kind of BBM but with ads and so on. So they're kind of floundering around a bit. In addition, round about here, or a little bit before, the executives, which were Anton and a guy called James Herbst, got involved in a matter for which they were sanctioned by the JSE because the company bought back a single stock future position that they had. It was warehoused overnight. They had to pay a big fine. So generally, this is a company that trouble has followed around, and as a result, it's lost a fair bit of its standing in the market. Still does have a core business though, but it's really something that's sort of in transition.
Craig, looking at a Huge Group, they've now recently sold off their stake in Namibia. What are your thoughts on Huge Group?
So they're sitting with a lot of old technology, which was current at the time that they came to listing, but you know, it's kind of like implementing almost a POBX system, but VoIP, whereas there's a lot better technology. So what they're doing is they're on-selling Vodacom's technology, Vox, etc. They had some promising, but you know, there isn't a lot of prospects. What worries me as well is not only have the directors played with single stock futures, but the company itself has CFDs. And to be quite blunt, I question some of the statements. I mean, let's just look at the trading statement that's come out now. They say 300% in earnings per share and 800% in HEPS is expected. On two occasions, and we don't have time to go through it before, they've given trading statements. You know, the 5th of April 2012, they said it's reasonable to expect between 70 and 90% increase in profit for the period. That was then updated to between 9.6 and 12 cents per share, and then on the 31st of May, only a month later, did they say no, it's actually going to be a loss of 3.9 and 4.1% cents with an explanation. So I don't trust the current trading statement. The share price has run up a lot on the back of it, but when a company is holding CFDs and directors are holding leveraged instruments that rely on that share price being a bit higher, you know, I have written about this company many times when I had the Share Tips blog, and I questioned their activity about running a share price instead of running a company, and that's kind of still my sentiments with regard to.
So
to
not
Huge.
hot for Huge Group for you, Craig?
Not hot.
Hot or not, Paul?
Yeah,
Huge
the
Group?
same, unfortunately. You know, it's a bit of a history that's interesting how it is that things can look so attractive and exciting and then kind of run to ground because of a shift in the marketplace. And that's why, incidentally, I'm not so big on smaller companies, because sometimes, you know, you read the financials and all sounds fine and dandy, but then it turns out because a decision that Vodacom and MTN made that, you know, the business is under dire pressure. So that, to add to all the things that Craig mentioned, also not hot for me.